Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Sub-Saharan Africa, Sudan, the death toll of yesterday's massacre is now up to 24. Many people are still searching for relatives who have gone missing in the chaos this morning. Fergal Keane shared some of his thoughts. The man of the moment is the RSF leader Hemeti, who is ruthless with well-organized force at his disposal and the support of the UAE and Saudi Arabia. But can he cajole the rest of the state security apparatus into doing his bidding, or at least standing idly by? So far, looks like yes. Fergal again, crackdown wouldn't have happened without the nod from Saudi, UAE and Egypt. Hemeti offers them a certain kind of stability. With big cash loans, Saudi's UAE have given the military breathing space in economic terms. They fear the democratic contagion of a truly free Sudan. The strategy, according to Fergal again, was to drag out negotiations, try to wear down the forces of freedom and change. Parallel to this was a steady escalation of physical threat from Hemeti-led forces, witness a series of violent assaults on protesters around the fringes of the demonstration. Charlie Robertson, Sudan looks like it is taking the 1989 Tiananmen Square approach, unlike Algeria at present. He also says successful moves towards democracy are far more likely in higher income countries. Violence against your own citizens is more common in low-income countries with lower adult literacy. At Sudan's per capita GDP, or where China was in 1989, there's only a 2% chance of a big shift towards democracy in a normal year. I remind you of what I said about Ouagadougou in 2014. How many do you shoot stone cold dead? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? And that's another point. There is a threshold beyond which you cannot go. Where that threshold lies will be discovered in the event. The reason they're trying to clear them off the street is because, as Paul Virilio said, the revolutionary contingent attains its ideal form not in the place of production, but in the street, where for a moment it stops being a cog in the technical machine and itself becomes a motor, a machine of attack, in other words, a producer of speed. And if the crowd disperses, goes home, does not reassemble, we say the revolution is over, which is what Hemeti is trying to achieve. I remind you of that old Sudanese revolutionary song, "We sing in our prison as you tremble in your castle." He's really the central locus of the soldiers' loyalty because he controls Khartoum. He has approximately 13,000 men in Khartoum. He's very hard to remove without any bloodshed. Russia will in the near future send 30 military personnel to the Central African Republic, where they will form part of a United Nations mission to help stabilize the country. Interfax. He's making a few moves on the African continent. Republic of Congo, CAR, he's involved in Sudan. They messed up in Madagascar. Togo just got a credit rating from S&P. Fitch and Moody's don't rate it. Single B lines Togo up with Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria and Rwanda, and is now a candidate for the 22nd African Eurobond issuer. More likely in euros, 6 to 8 years, and for reprofiling to reduce domestic debt vulnerability. Zimbabwe strikes a milestone IMF deal to boost new currency. Zimbabwe's central bank said it would stop printing money as part of a milestone deal with the IMF, which has agreed to monitor vital currency reforms in the southern African nation. Last year, the government borrowed the equivalent of more than half of its revenue from the money printing, though data indicate it has avoided tapping the central bank since December. It will also require Zimbabwe to cease taking on new debt from foreign lenders for the duration of the program. So it seems the IMF is coming in as the policeman, which is what is required at this point in time, because there is no credibility amongst the government. October 2018, I wrote about it, saying one domino that has suddenly tipped over Zimbabwe. And then I said the government's voodoo economics, where it spent $1.3 billion priming the economy ahead of the election, money it did not have, was the straw that broke the camel's back. And then I'd been reading Yuval Noah Harari, and in his bestseller he says this about money. Money is accordingly a system of mutual trust, and not just any system of mutual trust. Money is the most universal and most efficient system of mutual trust ever devised. The problem in Zimbabwe is mutual trust broke down. The RTGS dollar was introduced in February, continues to weaken. It was trading at 8 on the black market compared with 5.52 on the official interbank market. The local currency is now depreciated by 91% on the black market and 121% on the official market since its introduction. South African all shares up 6.73% year to date. Dollar rand, have a look at this chart. It looks as if it wants to hit 15 in my view. Egyptian pound 16.76. Egyptian EGX30 up 5.77% in 2019. Nigerian all shares down 1.59%. Ghana Stock Exchange down 1.35%. Maybe Africa really will be the new China, Bloomberg opinion. When people tell me that Africa will be the new China, I'm not as incredulous as I used to be. The continent is showing potential, and progress can come from what many consider to be a highly unlikely area, manufacturing. All across Africa, investors, many of them private entrepreneurs from China, are building factories. Others from India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh are joining in, while car companies from Japan, Germany and South Korea are declaring their intent to put assembly plants in places such as Ethiopia, Tanzania and Ghana. And of course, 6 of the fastest growing countries in the world are from Africa as well.